Today we will be looking at a test to see whether I'm a communist. So we have a score to show whether you are a communist or not. So let's try to take the test. One, the internal contradictions of capitalism are so great that the free market system will eventually collapse. Disagree. I mean, what's so good about the system free market? I mean, the free market is great, but I mean, the communist market system is kind of sucks sometimes. I mean, my country has been in a communist regime, and it's really bad. So hell no. Next, one party system would be get rid of a lot of nonsense politics and lead to better decision. Of course, it's true. It's really true. Oh, this is the correction. Okay, it's really true. After all, you look into China and look into Vietnam, everything seems perfect for them. Even though, I mean, regardless of the human right violations or somewhat or another, but the better decision for the nation is really great. I agree. There should be no such thing as private ownerships of land. Disagree. I mean, people work hard for it, so they deserve it. The absence of a free market economy will inevitably lead to the suppression of individual rights. So, yes, agree with that one. So, if there's nothing along with the free market, I'll guess that's nothing can help you with that. Next, there should be 100% tax on all inheritance. And fuck no. No, 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 no. Inheritance, something's given from the other people, ancestor, and this and that. So technically, there should not be no tax on that because people work hard for it. Okay. Next, religion clouds the judgment of the mass and prevents religion clouds the judgment of the mass and prevents them from seeing reality. Agree. At this point, agree, because so many people, they don't really think enough to see the whole picture. They just use religions as something that would cope with them or help them so to do this and do that. So yeah, agree. Capitalism is a precondition of freedom to flourish. Capitalism is a precondition for freedom to flourish. I'm gonna stay in the middle for that one. Many members of the working class who vote right wing live in a kind of a false consciousness where they do not understand their own interests. I do not agree with that statement because when people vote, they have the reason to vote for, and whether they live or whether they do, I think it's up to their own hard working. It's not based on who they vote for. The worth of the commodity should be determined by the amount of labor required to produce it. Oh, this talk about the I think this is outsourcing, something related to that. I agree with that one, but I will stay in the middle for that one. I cannot make any decision because outsourcing is also good for business, but in terms of morality, moral, this one is also defined in that way as well. But if you do business, the person who are doing business must have a profit or income, even though they're selling that product or making that product at a cheap price, but also making selling it at a higher price. The working class across the world have more in common in each other than they do with non-working class. Disagree. The state should ensure an even-handed distribution of the population across the nation. Yeah, of course. I mean, let's be honest. Even in most nations are democratic and prefer a capitalist free market. It's still that it's some are still corrupt, and I believe that they should work so hard to ensure to what they promise for their voter. They promise so many stuff. They promise free education, free healthcare, and in the end, it's still the same. So yeah, I agree with that one. The state should ensure that all citizens have a universal basic income decoupled from the yeah, of course, really good. You don't have to wait until what? Until uh retirement to get that money, because the older you get, the more boring you get. Like you don't really want to spend that money. It's like it's almost the end of your life. Next, people will not work hard in countries where they cannot get rich from their work. Disagree. Really, really disagree. I mean, people work hard or not will not be determined whether from the wealth they make, but from what their passion. And before they making decision to move to that country, they really know how much money they're gonna make. The state should control all aspects of economic production. Mm, I think it's called state intervention with this one. But still, I would think that they should they should not, disagree. I mean, in terms of product, they also have the custom to check, but still, to intervene into a production, I think is not really good. Next, the unequal power relation between business owner and worker are inherently exploitative. Yes, I do agree at some point because I used to work for a company, and that son of a bitch exploit me so hard. So I quit my job and I do YouTube full time. Next, all means of communication should be centralized in the hand of the state. No, there should be privacy for that one. All credit and loan should be centralized in one national bank controlled by the state. Yes. Uh, but still, if other banks came to do business, private bank, there should also be a interest rate for them so that it can grow. But if they exploit too hard or if their interest rates are too high, they shouldn't be allowed to do as well. So I will go with this one. Agree. Poverty, disease, and early death are endemic to capitalism. Disagree. Poverty, because you didn't work hard. If you're poor, at least you worked so hard for yourself. For those who are the middle class, they also work hard for themselves. For those who are rich, they already work hard and used to work hard so that they can earn enough money and became rich. Disease came from decision of, let's say, you don't really wash yourself, you don't really bath, you you tend to do something unhealthy, so you got a disease. And early death, that's the form of science. If you're married to someone who used to have this disease or that disease or is a disease lineage, or maybe you didn't eat enough during your pregnancy, I think it's gonna cause that early death. It's called mortality rate. So disagree. The individual best interests are indistinguishable from society best interests. Of course, slacking is part of a human nature and will only increase in society where there's no promise on personal financial gain. Of course, that's the true thing. Nowadays, a lot of exploit, from different people. They exploit you this, they exploit you that. So yeah, artists should have no private ownership or copyright. Nah, disagree. When people make stuff, they should be a private ownership or copyright to prevent, because they're the one that put their effort to their stuff, and we the people should also respect that. Next, there should not be such thing as private ownership of business. Disagree. Private ownership of business is good because you pay tax to the government, you create jobs to certain individuals, and also give uh, a lot of works to labor. So you have labor for the people, you earn money from them, and they also have the job. If they are educated enough, they also have their own job. If they don't have any education, they have the workforce and the manpower. You give them money. Yeah, that's the sort of thing. Next, the state should be responsible for providing all citizens with basic necessities, including food, housing, medical care, and education. Okay, at this one, I somewhat agree and somewhat disagree. Basic necessity, okay, including foods. Food, yeah, there should be some cash a month. Housing, there should be some discount. Medical care, there should be some good health care. Education, there should be free. I would agree at this one, but let's make it clear. If your country earns enough GDP and manage to pay for this, I think it's fine. Next, class is not sufficiently homogeneous entity to form the basis of serious social analysis. Ah, class is not sufficiently homogeneous. What the hell does that mean? What does homogeneous mean? Huh? Wait, is it something like class is not uh good enough to? Oh, it's like class is not really a big title to form the basis of a society. Judgmental thing. Um, Disagree. I mean, you still have titles. You have kings, you have queens, you have lord, you have mister, you have mrs, you have many other names that you can call that class. But in order to judge a people from stuff and thing, I think it's another way. Finish. Let's see. How am I a communist? Oh, I am a communist, a 40% somewhat communist. Oh my god, I'm ashamed of myself. Your personal agreement with communism is moderate, indicating that you are supporting some of the communism basic principles as put forth by the classical Marxian literature, while you most likely agree with certain communist doctrines such as a reduction of inequality and certain skepticism toward the free market. You most likely also find that other features of communism go a step too far ahead of collectivized power and control. You also might have noticed that your degree of agreement with communism has fluctuated across your lifetime in accordance with your self-perceived status at various points in your life. That's true. That's true. That's true. I do agree with some of communism stuff. I mean, in form of uh like good stuff, but I mean, let's be honest. The only communism that works nowadays, China and Vietnam. Those are the two nations that flourish so hard. And, you know, China is a big nation in Asia. A big nation, a big power, a big economic powerhouse. And Vietnam is a growing nation. Vietnam has been growing since the end of the Indo-China War, and they are doing very best for themselves, even though they are communists, but their nations floats. That's what I meant. So, if you guys want to try the test out, I will link in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please don't call me a communist. See you guys next time.